This is the video where I choose the colors for my main watercolor palette. If you'd like to see the creation of these little swatch cards, watch Watercolor Palette Redo the Swatchening from a couple of weeks ago. The link will be in the description. I began with 62 squares, color swatches, and I needed to select 28 to form my main palette. Basically, the process involved going through each color grouping one at a time. So the ones being pulled are the ones being eliminated. I'm not getting rid of them, simply relegating them to one of my supplemental palettes, which obviously I can pull out at any time if needed. The main palette is for the colors I expect to use most often. Yeah, I decided to go full Hansa, or it would be if I had the Hansa yellow medium, I suppose. I could be dramatic and say it was an agonizing process. Sure, it wasn't easy and it took some time. But we're talking about paint colors here, not a post-apocalyptic survival team, which I wouldn't get picked for anyway, since I have no idea which berries are poisonous. Thanks a lot, 6th grade camp, for those oh-so-useful sing-alongs and forced socializing. I've gotten off track. I've joked before about wanting all of the browns available. Hey, I like my browns, but it can't be the only color. The criteria wasn't consistent across the board. Sometimes a choice was made based on what I thought would be a good mixer. Sometimes transparency was a factor, other times not. Sometimes it was based on nothing other than partiality. And if I were to do this next week, it could easily have 5, 6 different selections. There were some surprises. When you lay out everything and really analyze things, you can make choices that you didn't think you would. Reds can be a real challenge for me. I don't feel like I'm able to appraise them properly. I mean, I can see there are differences, but somehow the finer points elude me. And that may be because I haven't done enough experimenting with mixes. Perhaps a good sit-down session to figure out these colors is called for. I wasn't able to include M. Graham's quinacridone red. It was gifted to me a while ago, but I've yet to pour or swatch it. So I'm excited about doing that in November. I imagine I could have fun with reds for Yule-themed pieces. I did not want to give up Winsor Violet, but Daniel Smith's Carbazole Violet is just too good. It's so intensely saturated. And there's sentimentality involved. Carbazole Violet was one of the 3 colors in Daniel Smith's secondary set. I'm very fond of that set. Purple, orange, and green. It's what I think of as Halloween colors, after all. Yeah, these blues were hard. This one maybe took the longest to go through. I mean, look at the compose blue and the turquoise. They're on the bottom row. Just look at the compose blue. It's from Holbein and it's semi-opaque. But I was comparing it to the turquoise from M. Graham, which is also beautiful, but in a different way. It's a little granulating and transparent. That French ultramarine, I actually haven't been using that. I've been using M. Graham's ultramarine blue, but I thought I'd give this one from Daniel Smith a spin. Producer Mike is going to think I have too many paints now, and that's probably true, but from a painter's perspective, there can never be too many paints, and as a collector himself, he should understand that. I gave up Prussian. Okay, yeah, that was painful. With the greens, I'd recently used terre verte in a piece and was trying to justify adding it here. If my main palette could hold 30 colors, I would have. This whole thing felt like playing an inverted version of the card game Concentration, one with no matching but plenty of head scratching. Those saps, my goodness. Looking at them side by side, wow, my mind just kept changing. M. Graham's sap green has gotten a lot of use, but look at Core's. It has a little bit of an olivey look, which I love. But the thing about my greens, I think I'm missing a basic, I suppose you'd call it a forest or maybe a hooker's green. I don't have a hooker's, but I think that's a basic type of green, right? Eventually I'll pick that up. I knew I had too many, so I went through and removed vermilion hue. Since I had a Pyrrole Scarlet. Was it Pyrrole Scarlet or Pyrrole Red? It was one of those that was very similar, so vermilion hue got the heave-ho. Piemontite, I figured, although I really like it, it got pulled because I just couldn't see using it a whole heck of a lot. The dimensions of these cards are 3 inches by 4 inches, so they are nearly the size of regular playing cards. Mine are just a smidge larger. I didn't want teeny tiny swatches. It's just Canson XL cold press paper. Nothing fancy. Okay, so here I was counting what I had and found that I still had 4 too many. The paper security thing. I can't be the only one who experiences anxiety when down to my last few sheets. Good friend Gail has helped to fill in the gaps here and there, so I can breathe easy knowing I won't run out for a while. Does anyone else fantasize about having stacks and stacks of 100% cotton watercolor papers and journals in all sizes and textures? Man, that is so hot. Hard choices. I should have gotten rid of either the quinacridone burnt orange or the transparent brown oxide. They're too much alike. If I were doing this right now, I probably would have removed quin burnt orange. I had removed M. Graham's sepia because I have Boku Undo's brownish black, which I've been using quite a bit. But now that I think of it, that was kind of silly, because brownish black is in an oversized pan and I have to keep pulling that shadow black set out when I want to use it. The whole point of this project was to have everything I need in the one palette. Yeah, Pyrrole Scarlet was close to the vermilion hue from Holbein, so I went with Pyrrole Scarlet, a very warm red. Maroon Paraline is such a recent addition that I couldn't not keep it, especially since I simply love that shade. Permanent alizarin crimson was a no-brainer since it's pretty much my go-to red. What can I do there? It's 2, 4, 6 greens. Yeah, indecision, second guessing. Oh yeah, producer Mike was there. He was helping me out, giving his feedback and asking questions. He's recently assembled his own watercolor palette, and I think watching this process helped with some of his choices. I did help him put it together, and there is footage, so the video for that should go up in November. It should be interesting because he went with a watercolor brand I have not used, Da Vinci. This here is 500% speed. Yeah, I didn't want to spend 15 minutes watching this. So, yeah, it's really fast. I kept this in because it might be helpful to some people. This is a pretty common type of palette, and anyone who's unfamiliar can see how it works with the pushing in and out of the tabs to remove and secure the pans. There were a few tricky moments, some tight spots that didn't want to cooperate, and at one point an entire row popped out. Hey, it's not a palette party without a few flying pans. And there it is. There's my main palette all reorganized. Guess I'll find out if this new arrangement works. Until next time, stay artsy, my friends.